So it's my pleasure to introduce Dave Churvis. He was the founding president of the Secular Panthers at Georgia State University. And he's passionate about a whole lot of things, including secular activism, social justice, music, art, math, and lots of other things. He is a queer, polyamorous, atheist nerd who can converse with equal fluency on Star Trek, the history of the Soviet Union, and least squares regression. He lives with his husband Matt and two extremely neurotic cats, and he's here to talk to us today about Openly Secular. Please join me in welcoming Dave.
Hi everybody, my name is Dave Churvis. I am the program manager for the Richard Dawkins Foundation for Reason and Science, and I am also the incoming project manager for the Openly Secular project. I'm here today. You might have heard people talking about doing Openly Secular videos over the weekend, and I was primarily doing those. So what I'm going to talk about today is the history of the Openly Secular project and what we're trying to do. So I'm just going to jump right into this. Essentially, this whole project was based around a desire to make life better for people who are non-religious. And one of the things that kind of prompted us to do this is that there is a pattern of prejudice against non-religious people. You've probably heard in the news, various social media, that nuns are a minority in this country especially, but also in the world, but we're a very large minority. We've actually overtaken a number of Christian minorities, particular sects and everything. Among all adults, and this was from last year, but this is America only, but among all adults, we're a little bit less than a quarter of all people are people who are not religiously affiliated. But among 18 to 24-year-olds, we are more than a third. And those numbers are growing. So the trend is going upwards. There are more and more non-religiously affiliated people that are happening. We don't know how many people exactly are atheist among those numbers. But these are still people who face a certain amount of prejudice from people because they don't ascribe to any particular religion. 7 of the 10 nuns are what we consider to be secular people. So secular people are people who either say religion is not important. You might have heard of them as referred to as apatheists. People who are atheist or agnostic. Those are secular people, and those are about 70% of all religiously unaffiliated people. The rest appear to be people that are they're not either not religious or they're not specifically religious, but religion's important to them. They might be spiritual but not religious, that kind of thing. As I said, we are growing fast. So this is actually a trend chart for the next 14 years, and you'll notice that by 2028, we represent, let's see, what is this, 36.2% of all people. And that's all the religiously unaffiliated people. So we are definitely on the rise. However, we are also judged to be bad people. There is a large number of people who believe that there is a link between God and morality. So, you look at the conservatives, of course, there are a very large number of people, with the exception of young conservatives and the business conservatives, who believe that you have to be religious in order to be a moral person. There's also a significant portion of the left that believe that you have to be religious in order to be moral. We can look at, there are certain outliers, a lot of liberals, and then some of the conservatives who are more on the business side of things. They care more about the money and everything than religion, but they're still there. There was an interesting poll that was done that asked people, how do you think you'd react if a member of your immediate family told you that they were going to marry some of a certain type? You can see, 19% of people would say that they would be unhappy if they married a gun owner. 9% would be unhappy if you married a born-again Christian. 49% said that they would be unhappy if they married an atheist. When you look at numbers like this, for example, the worst attribute that somebody can have if they're running for president is atheist, even more so than people who haven't held office. In terms of less likely to support. So we have a lot of uphill battle to fight. We are not, I mean, it's certainly getting better over time. You know, from 2007 to 2015, we've had a pretty good rise in the number of people who would vote for an atheist. But that's still really, really low. Because when you can compare that to any other group, we're still the lowest group. I mean, I can keep throwing statistics at you all day long. There's also, you know, can an atheist be truly American? Well, no, not really. For a lot of people. So, this is what we're fighting against. We are the third rail of politics. So among nuns, atheists are by far the least trusted. We face the most discrimination. All nuns, even the people who are religious but they're not religiously affiliated, they are practically unelectable. We have only one in Congress, and I'm actually not sure if these statistics are before or after Pete Stark left. If you looked at it as a percentage of the population, you'd have over 100 members of Congress who are nuns. And there are many elected officials who tell us that their careers would be over if they support us publicly. At the same time, this isn't something that people see as a civil rights issue. In 1961, this is 2015, so this is over 50 years ago. 1961, atheists won the right to hold public office. In 1964, we won the right to equality in employment and public accommodations. Interesting fact, we almost didn't get that employment equality, but we did. So that's happy. The problem is we haven't actually won our equality because we're still disallowed from a number of different things in society. I'm sure you've all heard about issues of government invocations. We have humanist chaplains that are in all different kinds of colleges, but there are people that are blocked from serving in the armed forces. There was one person who was thrown out of the Air Force because he wouldn't swear to God. He won his case on appeal, but he needed a legal team, and those are expensive. There's also real bias against real people. You get the daughter of a prominent atheist who gets beaten. You get people who are shunned by their family. I did a video earlier this weekend with Amanda Scott who got death threats from people when she started bringing up the issue of treating atheists equally. So what we're trying to do with the Openly Secular campaign is this. We go from a perspective of marriage equality. If you look at the trend over time, marriage equality in just 20 years went from 10% to the tipping point of over 50%. 20 years. And that's on the national scale. We think we can repeat that. If you look just within 5 years, 2009, you had 27% of people said they don't know a gay person. 49% said that they support gay marriage. 4 years later, 32% of people said they know a gay person. 68% said that they support gay marriage. So we know from the lessons that we've learned from the LGBT community that when we humanize us, when we humanize secular people, that people don't hate us. They can't hate us nearly as much. Harvey Milk famously said, you know, if you're gay, come out. No matter who you are, where you are, and come out. Because once somebody knows a gay person, once they know a gay person, they know that that person is someone they love, they have to change the way that they see gay people in generally. Now, that's not always the case. There are people that get thrown out and everything, but there are a number of people who can come out and they make a real difference for everybody else. So when it comes down to it, the mission of Openly Secular, and this is our actual mission statement that we all adopted. The mission of Openly Secular is to eliminate discrimination and increase acceptance by getting secular people to be open about their beliefs. That's it. We don't want to fight religion. That's something that has gotten us. It's been problematic. It's been difficult, and there are people who do that. What we do is we are simply saying that we envision a world where there are no costs. That secular people can exist, can live, can have their life without having to worry. They don't have to fear about being thrown out. They don't have to fear not being accepted. We're all about acceptance, reason, and love. And this is something that comes through in our video project, so I'm going to talk about later. Now, this Openly Secular project is not just one organization. Openly Secular is actually shared in a coalition format. We have support across all of the nuns: atheists, agnostics, humanists. There are non-theistic religious people, and then also the spiritual but not religious category, who they may not believe. With Openly Secular, we leave the choice of the label to be whatever that person wants to be. So unlike prior campaigns like the Out campaign, where it was out, I'm an out atheist, right? In this campaign, somebody can say, I'm an atheist and I'm openly secular. Or they can say, I'm agnostic and I'm openly secular. We had one person who said, I'm really hungry right now and I'm openly secular. So whatever somebody wants to label themselves as, they can have that label and still be openly secular. And I mentioned a coalition earlier. The coalition right now is formed from a combination of our acceleration partners, which are four organizations. My organization, Richard Dawkins Foundation for Reason and Science, the Secular Student Alliance, Secular Coalition for America, and the Stifle Free Thought Foundation. However, we also have a dizzying set of movement partners. Like, there's too much on this slide, but that's how many people we have. In addition to that, we also actually have allied organizations who are, and this actually needs to be updated because we've gotten a number of new ones, but ACLU, People for the American Way, Military Religious Freedom Foundation, and Americans United. We have also actually done some great work in getting some anti-bullying coalitions on our side recently, and we've been doing a lot of work with LGBT organizations. A lot of our material and our brochures and everything actually was adopted from PFLAG materials with their help and consent. So this is something that really does have a very broad base of support. So what the things that we actually do, the first and most important thing is we create resources for people who want to be open and for their friends and allies. We have a set of toolkits that we have on our openlysecular.org, which they target particular environments. We have one that's a general, how to be openly secular in your environment. But we also have ones that are targeted towards students. We have them targeted towards African Americans. Many of our toolkits have been translated into Spanish, and we're looking at other translation partners down the road. We also have a military toolkit that's we're working on that should be available soon. We also have brochures for friends and allies, and these are things that people can you can either give them to somebody or you can leave them behind in an organization or somewhere else if you don't want to confront them directly. But these are guides for things like religious allies, friends, family. We even have them for clergy about how to deal with somebody who comes to a clergyman, who in many places is the only real therapy that somebody can get. You can go to a clergy person, and the clergy person can deal with that person and say, I, as a clergy member, I don't understand, or I don't believe the way that you do, but I can still help you work through. So we have different toolkits both for people who are secular and for friends and allies. The other big thing that we do, and this is actually one of the main thing I was here doing this weekend, is working on our video campaign. Like I said earlier, if somebody knows that a loved one is secular, they have to look differently at secular people. If somebody sees if somebody sees a video from somebody who is secular talking about their struggle or talking about their life or just talking about things in general, and they see this person as human, it becomes much harder to hate secular people in general. So what we're trying to do with the video campaign is we want to build awareness of discrimination, obviously, but if you've seen these videos, you know that not everybody has a discrimination story. I was never particularly discriminated against for being an atheist, but that's because I was lucky. We also want to show secular people that they're not alone. Because for many people, I spoke to one person who they had not met a secular person until they were in college. And they had been secular for 10 years before that. And videos like this show them that even if they don't know somebody specifically, they're still not alone. We demonstrate solidarity among all different kinds of people because we have people making these videos that are atheists. We have people making them that are questioning. But the basic thing is that the message that keeps resounding from these videos is that people are people. We are people. And we're not evil. We also show the value of non-religious communities, because many of these videos are taken. We took over 40 videos here this weekend, and all of them are stressing the importance of the communities, communities, student groups, all different kinds of non-religious communities. And when we take these and we put them on YouTube, we make them to where we can actually share them and spread them. Now, this video campaign is actually split between, I say two different branches. We do have, the vast majority of them are from people just like you, regular folks. But we also have some celebrities that are coming on board with this. We actually have some big names that are coming up. They're going to be really, really soon. But what's really cool is that this is kind of modeled a little bit after the It Gets Better campaign, where we have people that are just kind of overwhelming these videos. We have famous people. On this list you have Bill Maher, Barney Frank, Julia Sweeney. We also just recently had one from John Davidson, who is probably older people will know that name, but we have all kinds of things that are coming out soon, and it's really great to see this movement start to really build. And in addition to the videos that we're taking that are professionally curated and choreographed and edited, we also have the ability for people to submit their own videos and tag them with Openly Secular, and then we'll promote them on our site, possibly contact them for more information. Now, the good thing is we're starting to get some media attention. We actually have gotten people that are talking about us in a lot of different places. We've actually been mentioned in the New York Times. We've been mentioned in a number of Christian publications, and recently we actually got the head of the Baptist Theological Seminary did a video for us recently, Danny Aiken, and it was a very interesting video because he was talking about how, as a Christian, the need for separation of church and state is important, and it was interesting. It was surprising how many Christian publications were coming out bashing him for going against the grain, for not keeping atheists being evil people. So these are things people are talking about us, and as they talk about us more and more, we can keep this momentum going. So, in closing, essentially what we're doing is we are trying to make it to where right now half the country does discriminate against the non-religious. We want to end that. We want to show people who we are. We want to show people our struggles, but also our triumphs. We want to show people that we are human just like them. And we are all about eliminating discrimination and increasing acceptance for everybody who is secular, and also for our friends and allies who may be having similar issues. We want to help people live openly, live fully, and live honestly for themselves and for their friends and their loved ones. And we want you to help us with that by making a video, yes, donating money, but also sharing our message, sharing it with friends and family, and just keep this thing growing, because it is an honor to be working on this project. It really is. So that's all that I have for this presentation. I have about 5 minutes left for question and answer if anybody has any questions about the project. Yeah.
What's been the thing that surprised you the most as you worked on this?
Well, I will say I joined the Richard Dawkins Foundation about a month and a half ago, so I'm relatively new to the project. I'm taking over now, but I've been participating on in some of the leadership calls since before then in preparation. So I will say it is surprising to me how it's surprising to me how resilient people are in this campaign, because there are so many people that, they give us videos, they give us interviews where really heartbreaking things have happened to them. And through the power of secular communities and through the power of being able to just even tell their story and be honest with themselves, they've been able to bounce back from that, and they've been able to be fully open and honest, and it's been a wonderful thing to see. And seeing some of the private footage, and also seeing the really surprising thing, honestly, to me, is some of the stuff that, you know, is still in the works that I can't really share yet. But it's like some of the stuff that's happening that we're seeing, and some of the people that we're seeing respond to this. It's exciting. It really is.
Good time to pay attention is the first week of August.
Yeah. Yeah. Around the first week of August, you should maybe check out on openlysecular.org and see what we're doing. Yes?
What are the videos that are filmed here and put up on YouTube?
Oh, okay. Now that's a question that's very hard for me to answer. So part of the process of me taking over this job is that I'm also taking over the process of video editing, and the video editing has been a little bit. It's kind of been bouncing around between people. So we kind of have some house cleaning to do on that, but I'm going to have that stuff up like as soon as I can. And of course, I'm going to notify all the people that did videos when we put stuff up, but it shouldn't be too awfully long.
I'm excited about it also.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming, and openlysecular.org, please share with your friends and neighbors and everybody. So.